some of you would know a lot of this, but bear with me because hopefully there'll be something in there for everyone. So very fundamental. This is the screen where you sign in. So it's not amazon.com or amazon.com.au, but it's sellercentral.amazon.com or sellercentral.amazon.com.au. So yeah, just because you have an Amazon buying account does not mean you have the selling account. And so when you sign in, you get yourself an account. This is the main screen that you'll see. And you can see it's a bit of a summary screen. You've got all of the orders on the side here. Just below there, there's buyer's messages. The payment summary over on the right-hand side shows, yeah, basically the money that you've got going out at the moment, because I'm not selling anything on this account, but money coming in, and the very important sales summary down here, which is saying, you know, how many orders you've got for that day. So this is sort of the screen that you'll always start with. And then if you go into the settings and then account info, this is the screen with all of your account information. So when you set up your account, you've got, you know, your business address, your legal entity, which is the business name, the display name, because you might, you know, choose to display a different name, like your brand name. And also this is where you'll be going in and setting up your deposit method, and also the charge method, which is the credit card that you need. That, when you start an account up, has to have money in it, and they have to be able to take some money out, otherwise they'll just suspend you straight away on that one. So yeah, and also probably a lot of you have heard about the professional versus individual. This manage here is where you'll switch that around and change that. And look, while I'm here, I will show you the user permissions over here is where you will grant other people access to your account, people such as me or Rosie, who need to do some work on your account. Also FBA Prep in Australia. So yeah, a few different people need access. That's where you'll actually go. And last week, Neil talked about changing some things within Amazon, the FBA Amazon, which is don't refurbish or fix up your product and put it back for sale. All of those kind of things are in this fulfillment by Amazon down the bottom there. So the other thing I want to show you here is up the top, this square here, you can see the company, my company is Blacklight, and I'm in America. But if I click on this little arrow, you'll see that it comes up with that Amazon.com, which is the US, Canada and Mexico. Even though I haven't set them up, they just come automatically with the US, and also Australia. And I've actually got there the business name Seller Central set up. And so this is one, if you set up the sell globally, this is what you'll be able to do using the same email address, the same login. You'll be able to jump between all of your different marketplaces, which is really handy. And you won't get this choose merchant is just because I log into a few different accounts. So that's why I've got that, but you won't get that. So over here under inventory is the sell globally. Now, there's been a lot of talk on Facebook about this in the Facebook group. At the moment, if you want an Australian account and a US account, please set up your account in Australia first and then go to this sell globally to link it through to the US. If you go the other way, there's a bug in the Amazon system and you'll get suspended from all of your accounts, and it's going to force you through Japan and the UK and you name it. So start in Australia, go to the US. Even if it's, you know, within half an hour of each other, it doesn't matter, but it's just start in the Australian Seller Central. Okay, so we're going to go and have a look at manage inventory. And here's something I prepared earlier. This is basically under the inventory, manage inventory, which is the main inventory page, you'll see the parents. And if you have a look, there's a little arrow and then it says variations 2. So each of these products have 2 variations. So if I just click on one of those little arrows, you will see, where's my cursor? Here we are. You click on this and you'll see that there are 2 different variations, and in brackets at the end, you'll see what the difference is between the 2. One's black and one's stainless steel. They're reusable straws. And also, see this SKU column, the parent just has a SKU. This is the SKU that Amazon's given it, but these have a meaningful name. So O1B for black and O2S for stainless steel. So when you're setting your products up, really, really good to do that and to basically give them meaningful names, because it'll really help you down the track.
May I add one little point into that, Susie,
yes,
as well, just while you're on the meaningful names? The other thing which is important is you can use those SKUs so that Amazon rotates your stock as well. So those SKUs are really useful if you've got stock that goes out of date, because Amazon will take your stock based on the SKU number. So if you need to rotate stock, that's how you actually rotate the stock, by using those SKU numbers.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Neil. So yes, you're right. So you'd go into the parent, you'd create another variation called like straw 03B or something, or some meaningful name to you, and you'd create it with the same UPC code, and it would be the same product, but the new stock goes into that. So you'd restock that SKU rather than the old one. So yeah, that is a really good thing to be able to do. Okay, so if you go into the Manage FBA inventory, it's a little bit different to the Manage inventory, in that when you go into here, you see all of the products that are for sale through the Amazon warehouses, so through FBA. But they're treated not as variations of a product anymore, of a parent product. They're basically, Amazon thinks of all of the products as individual products. So when they're, going to the warehouse, collecting products, whatever, they don't care if they're a variation, they just see a product. So you can see here we've got 3 products that are in the Amazon warehouse. Well, actually, if you have a look, you'd see available, they're all 0. Inbound are all 0. We don't have products there, but you would. When you send products in and create a shipping plan, you'll see inbound and you'll see the number here, and then they move over to available. So if we go and click on this over here, edit, and the little arrow, you get all of these choices. Edit is obviously going in, editing the listing. I went through that in another session. We're not going to go through that today. But you can, change, or add and change all of your description, your bullet points, your images, your search terms and keywords. So that's where you go to manage all of that. The print item labels, third from the bottom, this one here, that's the FNSKUs. So if you need your FNSKUs to, ship your products in, you can just go into there and do print item labels, and it will print out one. It'll give you one label that you can then use. And also in here, if you want to send stock and create a shipping plan, this send replenish inventory. You'll click on that and it'll take you through the whole process of saying how many products do you want to ship, what products do you want to ship, how are they packaged, in how many cartons, and how heavy are those cartons, and basically you can go through and send all of your products through there. I'm going to jump over now to Campaign Manager. So this is under advertising. This is you hear talk about PPC. This is basically where you set up all of your PPC campaigns, which is pay per click. So you'll be going in, unless you've got trademarks and brands, you'll be going into this sponsored products option. And there's a special on at the moment. When you start, you get $50 worth of free clicks. So there's another screen you'll see in front of this one to take up on that offer, but that's a good offer. So yes, do that. I'm just going to create quickly an automatic campaign. If you go through the modules, it's recommended to create an automatic campaign for a couple of weeks. And this is basically allowing Amazon to use the keywords it thinks are the right keywords, and to basically run a campaign for you, showing it where Amazon thinks that you should be shown. Well worth doing, because it might pick up a few extra keywords for you, and it's also quite handy because you'll get some negative keywords as well. So say, I don't know, you're selling these straws and Amazon decides to show it everywhere that people are looking for plastic straws, and you'll see maybe you get some sales, but maybe not, and you get absolutely none, and you've spent, $30, $40, $50 or whatever. So you can say, okay, we're going to add plastic as a negative keyword. With the automatic campaign, it is worth having it. I usually recommend you run it for 2 weeks in the US and 6 weeks in Australia, because you want to run it for long enough to get meaningful data out of it, but you don't want to run it for so long that you spend a fortune. And I've just put in $5 here. I know that Neil would put in a much higher amount, but that's just the amount I usually start with. Whoops, hang on a minute, I just want to show. And I'm clicking down the bottom. The targeting is the automatic targeting, which is the automatic campaign. So then you just scroll down a little bit and you select the products that you want to add into this campaign. So I've got the 2 variations here of the straws. Set the default bid. There's whole theories on this. That you can see the bid range there is, let me get my mouse, 79 cents to $1.86, somewhere in the middle. Particularly when you're starting out, you want to be pretty generous and you want to spend quite a bit of money, because what you're doing to start with is gathering information, and then you can start playing with it and pairing it right back and saving money. And for this automatic campaign, you don't do negative keywords. You're here information gathering. So you want to get everything that Amazon will suggest and recommend, and then you make an informed decision afterwards. So all you do at that point is just click on launch campaign, and that automatic campaign is running. As long as you've got a valid product with stock in place. But yes, at that point it is running. So you can see here under Campaign Manager, you'll see here there's an automatic campaign with straws. It tells you there it's automatic. It's not, I didn't put an end date in, it's not going to end. And the budget is $5 a day, which you can just increase. And these little boxes here, I won't scroll over, but it shows how much you've spent, how many orders you've got, and the cost of sale, like the actual cost of sale. And you can, if you've got lots of campaigns set up, just click on these boxes, like the spend, and it will order them in terms of the one that you're spending the most money on. And that's quite handy as well if you've got different ad groups within a campaign. All of the columns can be sorted based on, the biggest spend. So you know then where to go in and check to prioritize and maybe, reduce some keywords, delete some keywords, and just play around with it. Because this campaign manager is very much you have to keep working on it. You can't just sort of set and forget. It's something that you go back to, look through all the keywords. Are they working? Are they not? Used to work, doesn't anymore. Let's make some changes and just sort of keep honing it. Now we're going to set up a manual campaign. And no end date with this one. This is going to be your working campaign. And so you click here, manual targeting. And this is the bidding strategy. There's a couple of different choices. One is the dynamic bid, down only. So Amazon will lower your bids if it can do so and have you still win. So it's a bit like sniping on eBay. The dynamic bids up and down, you really only want to do that if you really want to drive traffic and spend a bit of money, because Amazon can raise your bid by 100%. So if you've got $1 bid, it can spend $2 per bid if it's a highly competitive time, such as the weekend, and there are a lot of people advertising. So yeah, you can choose whether to do that. And fixed bids, if you have it at $1, you will always spend $1, even if everyone else is spending 43 cents. So you can choose that. I usually do the top one, which is a dynamics bid, down only. Select your products. Now, the reason I'm doing a US demo rather than an Australian demo is there's one difference in the campaign manager, which is this. In the US at the moment, you can do this product targeting. Lost my mouse again. Here we are. Product targeting. And so this is where you put in ASINs. So you'll put in competitors' ASINs instead of keywords that people search on. And so if someone goes into a specific product, so I've got straws here, say there's some really nice rose gold straw, I can put that ASIN in here, and every time anyone goes into that screen, they'll see an ad for my product. So that's an option, and it'll happen in Australia. It's just not here just yet. So yeah, that's a pretty good option. You can spend an absolute fortune on it, depending on the products that you pick. So you really need to keep a close eye on that. Anyway, for the purposes of this demo, I'm picking the keyword targeting, which means I'll be putting in keywords. So these, when you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see here a whole lot of keywords, stainless steel, reusable straw, which are all good, but they're the keywords that Amazon thinks that you should go with. And so we've already got an automatic campaign, so we know that these are the words that Amazon's going to be covering, and that's good. But we want to actually enter a list. So we go into enter list, and we will enter the actual keywords that we're interested in. And, you know, there can be a massive, you know, you can have 100 here, a big list, but, you know, you sort of pick what you want. You don't want to go broad with the match type there, because when they're broad, it basically means this one here, if it roughly meets the keyword. So say if someone does put in plastic straws, or I don't know, reusable saddles, I don't know, and it says, oh yeah, that's a match, good one, and so we'll show this ad. Whereas the phrase is if it is, these words are contained in a phrase, might be straws, reusable, metal or something, and also exact is if someone's actually typed reusable straws. So anyway, you enter your keywords and click add keywords. There's a lot of different ways that you can set this up with different ad groups for different keywords and things, and so you can get more into that. I'm just doing a very basic setup to start off with. So anyway, we have added those keywords, and so you can see here phrase, exact, phrase and exact for these different keywords, and the bid that Amazon recommends, which is sort of in the middle of the ranges. And you can change those. I mean, that's, you know, you can choose to do that. If you're spending too much on reusable straws, you can lower some of these, and then yeah, basically it won't show up quite as much, but you'll be saving a bit of money on it, or you can increase it. So either or. And I should also add, these ranges change. So you can imagine that if you've got like Easter eggs, right now they'll be pretty expensive. Whereas if you're advertising for Easter eggs in November, no one's going to be searching, so you're going to be paying next to nothing. So just keep an eye on those things too, because it just they actually depend on how many other people are advertising for the same things, and they vary all the time. So you could be left behind. You could have 99 cents here and you don't check it, and then, you know, 2 weeks later you're not getting any sales, and you look and everyone else is paying $1.50. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. And so just if you scroll down a little bit further, you've got the negative keyword targeting. These are the negative keywords you would have heard talked about. So I have entered plastic here. And so you get these, I mean, you'll do your research and get the negative keywords also from the automatic campaign that you're running. You can run what's called an advertising report, and that will show you all the keywords that customers are searching on, and you can say, well, I don't want, if they're typing plastic, I'm not interested. So so we're going to add that as a keyword, which I've added, and then you launch the campaign, and so then here we've got the manual campaign running. So we've got the 2 campaigns running. I just want to show you as well, this is the help button up the top. So if you have a problem, click on help. Usually it will show you, depending on where you click help from. So I've clicked help from here. It'll probably go straight in and show you the advertising. This is, I did screenshots because the last time I did a demo, we ran into problems with the campaign manager. But anyway, so that, you know, and you can look here and say, oh, you know, am I interested in one of these, and follow through to get help. But more often than not, you won't be able to find what you want, and you need to contact Amazon, and you need to, you know, raise a ticket. So just scroll down the bottom and click on the get support. And then you will raise a ticket, and so you get this, what's called a case log. And so in the case log, you've got all of your tickets, and you can view them and you can add information to them. Just a point that they will get closed very quickly by Amazon. I think that the help desk crew are motivated, or, you know, incented by how many cases they close. And so they're likely to just respond and say, oh, please send an email over here, or, you know, you didn't do this right or something, and close it. Open it again straight away, because if you leave it closed for more than 5 days, you have to start a new ticket. You can't keep adding to an old ticket, so you've really got to keep on with it, because the longer these cases are open, the higher they get in the hierarchy, or, you know, the lists of urgent problems, and the more likely you are to get them solved. So in saying that, I'll be interested in Neil's take on this. I have had one ticket that I raised, and I didn't let them close it, and I kept opening it for like 10 days. And I think then we got put in a black hole, but it stayed open. I think if I went in now, a month later, it'd probably still be open, because they've just, like, I don't know what, they've given up on it. Anyway, one other thing that I wanted to show you is under performance, there's this performance notifications. This you'll get, and this is the little flag up the top here, this little flag. If there is a performance notification for you to read, you'll have a little number here, 1, 2. You get something in there every time you change your bank account or your credit card. But also, if you're having trouble and you've been suspended, this is where your appeal will be. So if we just click on and have a look in there, so you'll see here it tells you all of these, the account protections, they're all bank account changes. This selling plan has changed. I switched from, I would have switched there from individual to professional, but you'll see here there'll be like a square and it will say appeal, and that's where the whole appeal happens. Yeah, basically, if you're having problems getting your account verified, yeah. So that's pretty much. I mean, it's very quick, but that's Seller Central in a nutshell. Hope you all picked it up, and I'll hand back over to Neil.
That was absolutely fantastic. I actually, when you said that the way the support system works is through closing tickets, I've never actually thought of that before, but that's absolutely on the money when you think about how they are doing everything they can to close these things. That's so on the money. I've never thought of it that way. Yeah. And it makes perfect sense.
And that's why they close it so quickly and quite often they won't fix it. They'll just close it because they just want to move on and, say, yep, I've got my 10 closed for the hour or however many they need.
And I also think as well, what you said with regards to if they're open for longer and longer periods of time, there's more pressure on them to actually get them closed. And so by doing that, I mean, I've never heard of the Amazon Seller Central black hole, but I'm sure something like that would definitely exist. And if it does exist, I'm sure I've been in it myself a couple of times. But that's actually a really good point as well. By keeping them open, they have to get escalated. That makes so much sense as well. They would definitely need to get escalated up.
Yeah,
there was one problem where I think Susie made contact 14 times. She was so tenacious and so determined to get it a solution to the problem.
And it did work. We've had one other case though with the black hole, and it just went and it never got resolved, and we just had to give up on it and try a different angle. Yeah, but that was months of contacting and just trying for months, and it just didn't happen.
And so Susie, I know now that I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Kate. I know now that you've set up a lot of the Aussie online entrepreneurs communities, Seller Central accounts, but you've also gone in and looked at a lot of people's accounts that have already been set up by themselves. What's a consistent mistake that you see over and over again?
Look, the biggest thing when setting up an account is getting and having, because I usually see them when there are problems with the accounts, is just that the address on the bank statement doesn't match the address on the driver's license. And so you really, I know that people want virtual offices and things for their businesses, but get your bank statement sent to your home address and still have your virtual office for your website. Because then you need to get utility bills to, like, if you don't always, but if you have problems, you need to get utility bills to prove it. And how do you get a utility bill out of a virtual office? So that's a biggie. The other big one is people will use debit cards instead of credit cards, and you can use debit cards, and this is because you have to enter a card to get started with the account, but it's against the terms of service that you use a debit card, but they'll never pick it up as long as they can always take money out and take that first payment. But if they try to take that first payment and there's no money in the account, they'll basically shut down the account, and it could take you months to get it back up. And that's months of trying, and as Kate says, being tenacious and just sort of, going back constantly. So that's the biggie, is to have an account with money in it. I mean, it just needs to be $50, but it needs to have some money in it.
That's interesting. So if they can't make the first payment, you're blackballed basically.
You're yeah, that's it. They're not interested. And you're going to have to change that card, and you're going to, it's a pain. You can always go back to that card once you get a payment through some other way, but it's a pain.
And Kate, you were going to mention something?
Yeah, the other problem was Susie mentioned about the global, getting the order right of which account, which marketplace you're going to start in. it's the glitchiness of the system is, it's really important to start with Australia if you're planning on doing the global, because unless you're just going to the US, we've had a client that's gone around the circuit and had a real problem. And that was because he's, being Australian, started in the US and then tried to set up Australia.
Yeah, there's just a bug at the moment, and it was working fine before Christmas, so it's only a relatively recent thing. And in New Zealand, all of the sellers got an email about this, and someone put it up on the AOE group, so they know the problem's there. So they will fix it, because it's not just affecting Australia, it's affecting New Zealand as well.
So if somebody's already got a US account and they want to turn that into a global account, I assume that's okay?
Don't do it at the moment. Just wait.
Don't do it at the moment. Oh, okay.
Let them fix the problem, because you get to be... it happened within the half an hour that the account...
Wow.
All of the... Not like America was working fine, and then all of the accounts were suspended, including America. It was just like, nah, you're not selling anywhere. And so they're working on it, but at the moment it's a bug.
And so I would expect then, because it's a bug, and that's going to be a site-wide bug, anybody who's actually gone through that process and as the stuff set down, they're going to go into a big queue of other people with the same problem. It's going to take them forever.
Yeah. And it's and they've got to fix the bug still there. I checked it today. It's still there. So they haven't fixed the underlying problem yet. It's you think about Amazon and you think about the architecture of this platform. It was originally designed for people to sell secondhand goods and books. And then it just grew and grew and grew, and now it's so massive. At what point have they ever shut it down to actually go and do an architect upgrade, like, to go to version 2 or version 3? They can't, because you can't say, oh, we're going to shut it down for 24 hours and then there's going to be testing and bugs. You just can't do it. And so basically they have to just keep enhancing the existing architecture, and that's why there's some underlying things that are quite annoying and frustrating, but we all have to live with it, because the other option is a whole new version that's going to be totally buggy and take ages, and Amazon will die if it's down for 2 or 3 days. It can't be. So they have to keep it running. So that's why they just do little fixes here and there and little enhancements, rather than just do, a big new great thing that doesn't have the limitations that it has.
It's like with Microsoft, every Word document and every version of the Word document software, they have to make sure the new software is compatible, and because of that, it's places inherent strains upon their systems and the architecture.
And you know with Microsoft, if you're one of the first people to upgrade, like if you're in the first month, you're going to have problems. Yeah. Whereas with Amazon, they have to do it all at once for everyone. So they just can't, they just can't do that.
All right, so listen, are you happy to stick around for 10 minutes or so, Susie, and answer some questions?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, let me be the question person for you then, okay? So.
Okay. Do you want me to mute for now? I can mute.
No, it's all good. Karen Francis, can you show what a brand registered Seller Central account looks like? We are brand registered, but think Amazon has not updated our Seller Central account, or do you have to take extra steps?
Okay.
So Susie, why don't you go into the live scenario?
It's going to be setting it all up and everything. I've got everything open on my screen behind here. I really can't. Sorry.
It's going to be one of those things where we bring kids and pets onto the show, I can tell.
But yeah, Neil might want to share his screen, because you're right. It's going to be in either the drink bottles or the pets. Basically, the bullet points will look the same. The images will look exactly the same. But underneath where the description is, there'll be images. But you would know, because have you gone in and set up your A+ content, which is, I will just go back to the advertising.
There it is. No, not there. Sorry.
Let me get the.
If you can access A+ content, Karen, just while Susie's bringing that up, if you've got access to A+ content, then you are brand registered, because the only way you get that in your own Seller Central account is through brand registry, unless you're going to hack it, which of course I'd never suggest that you do.
So it's the second, can you see on the screen there, the A+ Content Manager. So you go in there, you register your brand, you need to get approval for the brand. and then you should be able to do it. In saying that, Kate and I have a problem in Canada. We're brand registered, and it just won't show our. It just won't show the descriptions won't show as nice. And yes, we've raised tickets, but it's not a real priority for us, and we've just let them slide. So they go and then they close after their 5 days, and then we have to start again. So it's just sort of an ongoing thing that we know that it's a known bug with our system. But yeah, so that A+ Content Manager is where you add it all in. And I should talk about the early review program. Have you covered that recently, Neil? Because that's really good.
Not within a kind of session like this. So if you want to quickly mention that, that's a great thing to mention.
Yeah, so third on that list there under advertising, this is only available in the USA. So you can't do this in Australia, but that's okay because, we all need reviews in America more. The early reviewer program is you basically register your SKU, not your ASIN, but your SKU, and it will put all of the variations into this early review program. And so there's a select list of reviewers that get a choice of saying, these are all in the early review program. Do you want to review them? They don't get the products for free. They actually get a 5% discount, which is a coupon that they can use for their next purchase. So it's not a great incentive. And so it kind of means they actually do need to want the product that you have. So you don't always get people taking it up, but as soon as you get one review, you spend $60, $60 US, and then they keep it up and running until you've got 5 reviews. So it's a good way of getting some reviews early on.
And there is no word yet as to when that's actually going to arrive in Australia, but I am told that they're offering a kind of like an enhanced version of that, where you can get up to 30 reviews. So that kind of speaks, I think, to because obviously Amazon's got all the data about how many reviews are required for a product to have sufficient social proof to become a viable product in amongst other products with reviewers. And that would suggest, given that gives you 5 reviews, then 5 is one cutoff number, but apparently the next cutoff number is 30 reviews, and so they're looking to add that in as well. And from memory, that's going to be $1,000 US dollars, and it'll be obviously sorted in Amazon.com.
Wow,
to get 30 reviews. Yeah. That's pretty cool, I thought too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what else we're going to hear. Rod. Regarding support closing, what do you do when seller support does the same copy and paste answers that are wrong and then keeps closing my case?
Yeah, they're so annoying, and you stay polite and you keep, but yeah, no, seriously, they just keep closing it and cutting and pasting and closing. Get on the phone. It's much better to get on the phone. But in saying that, I've got on the phone and I've got the most helpful people, and I love them, and I want to send them a present. I love them so much, and they're so nice, and they say, yes, I'm going to fix it for you. Don't you worry, my name's such and such, and I take note of their name, and then it doesn't get fixed. It just gets closed. So, but if you get rude on the phone to them, I had the other day, and I'm always polite, but once I wasn't, and only once, and the guy said, it was a really clear line. He went, excuse me, I can't hear you. Excuse me, I can't. And I'm like, you can hear me. And then he hung up on me.
The line's breaking up.
Yeah. It was totally, he was like tapping the phone. I can't hear you. So yeah, you do have to be polite.
I think there's one other thing as well, and I think I can't remember when we discussed this, different strategies for getting in touch with seller support, but one thing that quite often works when all else has failed is actually using the Seller Central app on your mobile phone. It seems to be that there's a different team that are responsible for Seller Central app support versus like desktop browser-based support. So
do you find that's better for emails as well, like just for going online and entering the problem rather than calling?
Yeah, I mean, it's only anecdotal. Yeah. There's no kind of hard and fast data, but anecdotally, it certainly seems that you get a different sort of person who seems to have, it may just be a time issue, like they've got more time to actually communicate and go through the problem, and they're not as pushed as the browser-based support team, if there is such a thing. So, yeah,
no, that makes sense, because the other thing is, and this is definitely true, Australia is much, much better than America. And I think that's the same logic, because they're not as busy, because there aren't as many sellers. So you're probably right. Yeah, I'll try that.
All right. What else have we got? I was rejected. I'll give that a try. Phone app is great. Heaps of people saying that. Okay, cool. That's good. I'm an eBayer, no Amazon setup. How much for? Okay. Could you please put some way up on screen of how people can contact you, Susie?
Oh, me?
Yes, please.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I didn't plan that. Didn't plan that very well.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, it's basically, if you go to the website sellercentralsetup.com.au, and I'm going right to the beginning.
Yeah.
Here we go. No, there's Seller Central Setup here, so it doesn't have the address there, but it's sellercentralsetup.com.au, and then there's the information page, or info@sellercentralsetup.com.au is the email address.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that up, and then I'm going to give everybody the URL for that. As I said, Kate, Susie, and the rest of her team, they do heaps and heaps of work. Let me just put this in, send to all. There you go, I'll put it in there now. They do heaps and heaps of work with our diamond clients. Kate is one of our most experienced diamond coaches, and has helped heaps and heaps of people. I sat down and worked out the other day, Kate, and I think you're up around 200 people you've helped now get themselves up and running onto Amazon, which is just incredible when you think about it.
Yeah. Well, so Susie would be up there too in terms of the numbers. If you look at all the various different clients she's working with, a similar sort of.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Susie does a lot of work with my clients, and so does.
I was really looking forward to seeing everyone at the conference and oh, this is who you are.
We've been stopped at Stockzone now.
Oh, next year.
Next year, we'll get it. So if you are at all interested, then go check them out. I mean, for me, and I think, Susie said it very, very wisely, and Kate also at the very beginning of this evening, if you're kind of stuck, if you're not moving forward just because of a small technical thing that you're only ever going to need to learn how to do once, I mean, really? Why would you spend the time learning how to do that when it can be fixed so quickly and done so, with all due respect, probably so much better than you could do it, simply by getting somebody who's done it 100 times, because that's their job to do that, versus you trying to figure it out the once and the only time once that you'll need to get it done. I think that speaks a lot to just good business practice on your part as an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, that you recognize those bottlenecks in your own business and do whatever you can to get rid of them. And if it's a bottleneck that you only need to fix once, just get somebody else to do it. I think is great advice.
So with that, just further to that, is when I'm working with clients, I get them organised for a session with Susie, and they go in with their PPC spreadsheet, with their exact and their phrase and their negative list, and they go in with, what coupons they want. They go, whether it's 15% or 50% or whatever. They go in with their Kibli emails written. They go in with what else? There's a Google Pixel, Facebook Pixel. So they go in and they're really organised, and then they have the session. So it's a very efficient way of using the time with Susie. And I really like people going in and actually setting up their account up with her, because then I know they're being set up correctly.
That's right. Yeah. All the infrastructure is there
to copy somebody else's PPC campaign rather than set it up originally.
Yeah, exactly. I've got heaps of people saying that they've had you guys working on their business, or have coaches, and just saying how fantastic you are, which is lovely to hear.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that you guys want to cover off or anything like that. I know this has been very, very different, a very, very different kind of evening, and it's entirely on me and my unpreparedness, and also, and it's entirely on Kate and Susie for kind of coming to my rescue and putting something together at very, very short notice.
Hey, thanks so much for watching that video, and I hope that you got some massive value from it. Before you go, do you live in Australia? If you do, this is for you. Would you like to learn how to sell things on Amazon here in Australia? Would you like to know what sells really, really well and what sells for the maximum amount of profit? Would you like to know where you can source those products from, whether that be in China or here in Australia, and how to source them so you pay bottom dollar and get maximum value for what you're doing? If you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you'll learn that and much more. It's the exact same information that people like Jeff from New South Wales have used to make $45,000 a month on Amazon, that Sue, who's from the sunny coast, has used to purchase herself a brand spankly BMW every single year as a result of her e-commerce business, and the lovely Kate from Bowral in New South Wales has used to make $32,000 a year on, a month, not a year, a month on Amazon, and indeed Anthony, who makes $15,000 a month on Amazon, selling, as he puts it, odds and sods. If you'd like to learn the exact same information that they use to maximize their profits for their Amazon businesses, subscribe to this video, like my channel, post below if you want me to teach you something. Okay, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye. Subscribe. Do it now.